now recording this, and I'm going to be solving for unknown values. I'm going to use all the stuff I learned so far and try and come up with all these different answers, and I'm going to move with quite a bit of speed. Okay, so let's look at A. Let's throw a screen on here so we're kind of keeping this one piece at a time. Solve for all the unknown values. Okay, so first thing I notice is that this has got to be supplementary angles, right? Because it's the whole thing should be 180. So I can find x. I can say, okay, x is going to be the whole 180 degrees minus the 122 degrees that's right there. So that's going to leave me 58 degrees left over. So x is going to be 58 degrees. Now to figure out y, I know the whole triangle has 180 degrees, so y is going to be the whole 180 degrees minus the 90 and minus the 58. So whole 180 degrees minus the other two angles. Whatever's left over will be what y is. That's 32 degrees. That's our first one. What's our second one? Okay, I'm going to give you a moment to get started because I think this will work better if you try it. So I'm going to give you a 30-second head start. Give this one a try. Go for it. See how much you can figure out. In 30 seconds, I'm going to jump in. Go ahead, Kai. Great. Then you're ahead of the game. I'm glad that this stuff is good for you. If you're already done, then Kai, you can jump in on the practice for this. If you've already done the lesson stuff, it's attached to the ADSB agenda for today, and it's called task. Task. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I'm jumping in. This whole thing is a supplementary angle. Oh, I got another hand up. Let me just figure out who it is. Alex, go ahead. Yeah. I figure you got the weekend, so we got some time to go through it. Chase, go for it. So I'm not going to, good question. I'm not going to be collecting all of your homework because the assumption is that you're in this class, you're doing your homework. And if you're not, it'll become apparent that if you're not doing your homework and that's a problem, I'll notice pretty quick. So the expectation is that you're practicing all of it. So I will collect stuff, but that's right. Yeah, I will tell you if there's something I want you to submit. If it says task, it's just something for practice and learning. Yeah. 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 Okay, so let's say, and if you want to get ahead of me on this stuff, that's fine. If you're feeling comfortable, I'm totally happy for you to do that. So our first one, we got a supplementary angle, so x is going to be a whole 180 degrees of that supplementary angle minus the 73. So that's 107. And for y, we know that this whole thing is going to have 360 degrees because it's one more side than a triangle. So that means it must have 180 plus 180. So 360 degrees minus all the other sides. So we've got our 107, we've got our 53, and we got another 53. And whatever's left over is our angle y. So that's 247. So this drawing is a little bit deceptive. Never trust the drawing. Okay, let's keep rolling. For these ones, if you're feeling good about it, you can jump ahead, you can keep going, you can stay ahead of me, but if you want to follow along directly, that's fine too. For C, I can use my opposite angle theorem. So I can say, okay, C is going to be 145. I know because it's opposite angle 145. I can use my supplementary angle theorem to find B, because I know that whole thing is going to be 180. And if I subtract off the 145, then I'm going to have 35 degrees left over for B. For D, I can actually use my F pattern, and it's going to be equal to B. Which I already got. So D is going to be 35 using my F pattern. Okay, on to D. For D, I'm going to use my Z pattern. I'm going to draw it kind of like that. So I'm going to know, based on my Z pattern, Y is equal to 55. And I'm going to know that X is equal to 45 using my Z pattern. Let's head over to E. Oh, E's tough, but I do have a clue here. It's an equilateral triangle. And I know that an equilateral triangle has 60 degrees in every corner. So I can fill that out. And so I know that X has a supplementary angle there. It should be 180 degrees, that whole supplementary angle, minus the 60 is going to leave me with 120. And it's actually the same thing for Y. Exact same operation for Y. Z is a little trickier. I'm going to need to find this angle next to Z before I can find Z. So to find that angle, I'm going to give it a name. I'll call it angle A. Why not? So we'll say angle A is going to be 180 minus 60 for this whole big triangle, minus 71. We can figure out what that works out to. That's going to be, I think, 49. Yeah, 49. Yeah, go ahead. Yep, that works great too. Absolutely. So a couple ways to do that one. My supplementary angle theorem tells me that Z and A add to 180. So 180 minus 49 is going to give me the 131. Almost there. We're looking at F. I'm going to use a couple of my patterns here for this one. I'm going to use an F pattern. It's a little hard to see, so I'm going to draw it in red. Here is my F, like that. So that means A has got to be equal to 35 because of that F pattern. And I can use a C pattern to find B. So B has got to be 90 degrees because it's going to make a C pattern right there. Go ahead, Radid. What's up? think I want you to do the whole thing. So let me just remind myself by taking a look at it. But my intention was for you to do the whole thing. Yeah, yeah. So to 28, you can go and do the whole thing. Okay. Well, class is ending in 7 minutes, so you can you got 7 minutes to finish those up, and then you can relax. Pardon me? No, sadly, no. You got to stay in the call. Sorry. I know that's a pain, but that's how these things go. Okay, and where were we? Oh, C is going to be our whole triangle. So I know our whole triangle is 180, and now I can subtract off the parts that I know, the 35 in one corner and the 90 in the other corner. And that's going to leave me with 55 degrees. Last one is a little bit tricky. Uses a little bit of algebra, so we'll finish up there, and then you've got some stuff to practice over the weekend. Here's our last one. So you might look at this and say, I don't know any angles in here. How am I supposed to do any of this? Right? I don't know any of the angles. If I don't know at least one angle, how can I solve for this? Well, we're going to have to use algebra to help us out. So I'm going to look first at this supplementary angle right here. I notice that they both have x's in them, so that's going to help me. I know the whole thing is going to equal 180. So 2x and 3x combined are going to equal 180 degrees because they're supplementary angles. Well, I can add those like terms together. 2x and 3x means that's going to be equal to 5x. And if I divide both sides by 5, I'm going to end up with 36 degrees. So x is 36 degrees. But that doesn't tell us what the angles are. That only tells us what x is. So I got to go up over here and say, okay, 2x equals 2 times 36 degrees. So that's going to be equal to 72. And 3x, that's the other angle, that's 3 times 36 degrees. That's going to be 108. And our last one, y, we can use our supplementary angle theorem. We'll say 180 degrees minus 2x. Oh, and actually we can say it is identical to 3x using our opposite angle theorem. So we can say it's 108. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I did. Yeah, so that's on purpose. I want you to have the answers so that you can do the work and then you can check and see how you're doing. So that's yeah. So thanks for noticing that. I'm glad you did, but that's on purpose because I want you to be able to check your answers and see how you did. So treat this as if I've assigned some questions out of the textbook. I haven't given you a textbook yet, so I can't say like do questions on page whatever. So that's the reason I posed these tasks. This isn't something you're going to hand in. This is something for your own practice. Because this is review stuff, I'm assuming that most of you feel pretty comfortable with it. And if you don't, you'll let me know and I can give you some extra help. Okay, so I'm just gonna stop the recording so we won't have